Yet another anti-apartheid activist, Prema Naidoo, described how he feared for his life while detained at the then John Voster Square police station. Naidoo was detained in 1981 at the same time as his fellow activist and union organiser Dr Neil Aggett. He is testifying at the inquest into the death of Aggett in the High Court in Johannesburg. Aggett was found hanging in his cell on February the 5th, 1982. Prema Naidoo says the security branch police officers referred to the 10th floor of John Voster Square, where interrogations took place, as the Timol Heights, in reference to how they had killed activist Ahmed Timol. Naidoo says the day he was arrested, they threatened him by saying it would soon be known as the Prema Heights, suggesting he'd also be killed the same way as Timol. The activist was also subjected to similar torture as other detainees who have testified. Naidoo was ordered to strip naked and handcuffed to his ankles while being assaulted verbally and physically by different officers. Well, our reporter Hasina Gori has more.
Day 9 of the reopening of the Neil Aggett inquest, and today we had another political detainee giving testimony. Prema Naidoo explained his time in detention, relaying what we've heard similarly from Barbara Hogan as well as Reverend Frank Chikani earlier this week, detailing some of that gruesome torture, both emotional, physical and psychological, that they underwent while in John Voster, as well as other police stations across the country and across Johannesburg. He explained being made to stand for hours, as well as holding chairs in his hand, being abused both verbally as well as physically by various different police officers. He explained how he came from a political family where everyone from his grandfather right down to his siblings had been part of the black consciousness, as well as fighting against the apartheid regime. With me is his elder sister. We're going to speak to her in a little bit. Thank you so much for speaking to me. Can you tell me, for you, being here at the Neil Aggett inquest, hearing that testimony today, how important was it for you?
It is very, very important that such a case is taking place. You know, these people are getting away with it. How many people have died in their hands? You know, they got to answer for it. And also, besides that, just mass killing, you know, it's not, these things are not accepted. And they should all be tried and made to pay for what they did.
Shanti, can you tell me, when was the first time you were detained, and what was that experience like for you?
I was detained in 1969, and I was brought to court to give evidence against Winnie Mandela and Joyce Kakane, and I knew the people were, you know, all friends of mine, and I refused to give evidence. And just by coincidence, a woman from the Eastern Cape appeared after me, and she also refused to give evidence in the case. And this was 6 months after, you know, with solitary and everything, 6 months after I was detained and brought to court. I refused to give evidence, and I was sentenced to 2 months. In fact, both of us were sentenced, but we've never met each other. We don't know each other. We met at about 48 years later. For the first time we met, you know. And it was quite emotional meeting somebody. Both of us have destroyed the trial, you know, and we haven't met. It was quite emotional.
Were you ever detained at John Voster police station?
No, I wasn't at John Voster Square. I was taken to the fort for the first 2 weeks. And then they took me to Pretoria, and I was interrogated for a whole week at the Compal building, which is the Commissioner of Police building. And I was there a whole week. And they interrogated me without sleep for Monday to Friday, you know. And by the end of Friday, I was like hallucinating, you know, sort of, and it became really terrible. They were sort of pushing a chair to me. Do you want to sit? Do you want to sit? And I was, you know, falling asleep, like standing, but also dreaming like I was flying in a plane or something, just hallucinating things that I've never been on a plane before that, you know. And they gave me something to drink, and I slept. In the morning when I got up, it was like the floor wasn't there, you know. I was feeling really weird, you know. And then they brought me back on Monday to interrogate me again after the weekend, and then they just left me until brought me to court to give evidence.
Thank you so much. That was Shanti Naidoo speaking to us about her experience during the late 60s when she was detained, speaking about some of the torture she experienced. She is the sister of Prema Naidoo, who is giving testimony today at the inquest into the death of Neil Aggett. We have been hearing from various different detainees detailing their experiences, as well as from a former security branch police officer who explained the processes as well as what is he witnessed in John Voster Square. Back to you in studio.